How you going, guys? Hybrid here. Today I'm going to be doing the Season 15 patch rundown. So if you're a jungler and you're not caught up to speed on what's going on in the new patch, then this is the perfect video for you. So jumping straight into it, the biggest change of the new patch is the introduction of the Feats of Strength system. So what First Blood used to do, it used to give you a lot of gold. First Turret used to give you a lot of gold. Well, Riot said scrap that. Instead of having a lot of gold on First Blood and First Turret, Riot has given you kind of a scaling advantage now. So it's introduced the Feats of Strength system. So what the Feats of Strength system is, it's pretty much a best of 3 system where whichever team gets 2 of the 3 requirements first gets a bonus Feats of Strength. So what are the 3 things that you need? Well, the 3 things that you need is First Blood, First Tower, or the first 3 like global objectives. So for example, the first tower is self-explanatory, First Blood is self-explanatory, but the first 3 epic monsters means that you need to get Void Grubs, Drake, and then Void Grubs, or Drake, Void Grubs, and Drake. You can't go for the first set of Void Grubs and count that as 3 epic monsters because it only counts as 1. So you need Drake, Grubs, Drake, or Grubs, Drake, Grubs, something like that. What you get from the Feats of Strength system is you get upgraded boots, which is upgrade tier 2 boots. So what do I mean by tier 2 boots? I mean like tab eyes, plated seal caps, and mercury treads. Those are tier 2 boots. So you get upgraded boots in that form, which is not actually that big of a buff because it only gives you like +5 armor, +5 MR, which is not that huge. But the actual Feats of Strength buff comes in to tier 3 boots. So it gives you the availability to upgrade your tier 2 boots into tier 3 boots, which is honestly massive. It might sound like, oh, upgrading boots, and you have to pay for them as well. I think you have to pay around 750 for each of them. And you might be wondering, okay, why is it broken? Well, just take a look at this passive. So by the way, you get bonus MR and bonus tenacity already, but take a look at this passive. It gives you a shield that absorbs 10 to 140 magic damage, plus 4% of your maximum health for 4 seconds. So this is like a completely broken passive, and you can literally get it from upgrading your boots with only 750 gold. Plus you get a whole bunch of stats with that as well, right? So Feats of Strength is kind of like, in my opinion, it makes early game matter that much more. I mean, it's completely broken if you can get it. So I think now you'll see a lot more players start cheesing with level 2 ganks after 1 camp, stuff like that. So make sure you really keep note of this and always play to the conditions. So play for First Blood more, play for First Tower, play for the first 3 epic monsters. Now I'm going to be honest, people used to always play for First Blood anyway, but I think now you want to do it even more so. Like, as I said, level 2 ganks, I think are going to be very common. Like, I think Xin Zhao is going to come straight back into the meta. You're going to see Volibear a lot more, these sort of champions. And First Turret, I feel like this hasn't changed that much because I feel like First Turret was very OP last patch as well. But I guess there's more emphasis that's put on that. And when there's more emphasis put on taking turrets and taking First Turret especially, it also means more emphasis placed on taking Void Grubs. So I think Void Grubs are also going to be stronger in general, right? Second thing to talk about is jungle plant. So you get a new jungle plant. Pretty much there's a XP and adaptive force jungle plant now. It's whatever. It only takes 1 hit. So if you see it, take it, but you don't have to walk to it and take it. Like it's nothing. It's no big deal, Now jumping into the other changes. Now this is probably the most important change for high elo junglers. It matters a bit for low elo players, but if you don't know how to use it, obviously it matters less. But they are changing cannon minions. So cannon minions now spawn on the 4th wave. So they spawn at 235 instead of 205, which is honestly huge because what you used to see a lot was people diving on the 3rd wave, like them sinking the waves and diving on the 3rd wave. Like on Volibear, if you watch my guide, you know I love to use this strat. I love to dive on the cannon wave. So them stalling this to 235 spawn is kind of annoying for early aggressive junglers. But, I mean, it doesn't change it that much. It just means you take another camp before doing it, right? Important to take note of when we're talking about cannon minion spawn times is the interval doesn't change. So cannon minions still spawn every 3rd wave, but the only difference is the first time they spawn the 4th wave. So they spawn on 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. They don't spawn on 3, 6, 9, 12 like they used to. Another important change, probably the 3rd most important change of this patch, is the introduction of the new jungle epic monster, Atakhan. So to summarize, I mean, there's a whole bunch of information here, so I don't expect you guys to read through it. But to pretty much summarize it in my words, there's 2 forms of Atakhan, okay? So you can spawn, what is it called? Ruinous Atakhan, or you can spawn the normal Atakhan. So the normal Atakhan, what the normal Atakhan gives is it gives you pretty much a GA. And every time, it gives you a 1-time use GA, okay? So you kill Atakhan, it gives you a 1-time use GA. every time you die, instead of dying, you revive in your base and you get given 100 gold and wait, what do you actually get given? You get given 100 gold and a stack of bloody petals, which is like nothing, right? Like it's not that useful. The other thing it gives, by the way, is it also gives you 40 more gold every time you take down a champion. So if you look here, this is the permanent passive. This GA thing, it's only lasts for 150 seconds. But this permanent passive, I don't really think it's that useful. I think this GA, though, is completely broken. I'm going to explain to you why. So you have 150 seconds to use the GA. The reason why it's broken is what you'll see. I played against, like, I'm scrimming a lot on this patch already. And this is 4 days before the patch, by the way. And what I've noticed is every good team I scrim is they take this OP Atakhan form. They have the GA for 150 seconds, and they tell everyone, yo, guys, we're going to dive mid lane right away as 5. And they dive mid lane, right? And then, let's say they're supposed to die. Instead, they go into their base, and they have tempo advantage to play the map. So, if I actually just open it here, if I show it to you, okay? So, let's say you take Atakhan. Atakhan usually spawns bot and top, by the way. So, the place it spawns depends on which lane is more bloodthirsty. So, let's say if there's more kills top lane, let's say if there's 10 kills top lane and 5 kills bot, it will spawn here. If there's 5 kills here and there's 10 kills bot, it will spawn here. Okay, so that's how it works. It doesn't really matter too much where it spawned, but that's kind of just one thing to note, right? But let's say you took Atakhan here. What you want to do is instantly reset, or if you don't need to reset, you instantly go into here. You dive in as 5 on this, and you trade like 3 for 5. But because you all revive, you guys can all come out the map as 5 people, and then you can play all this vision while enemy's still dead. And you can play this tower, this tower, this tower, because you're so far ahead in tempo. And they've only got 2 people alive, right? So that's kind of how I've seen the good teams use it. I think you're going to see something similar in solo queue. I don't think it's going to change that much. I've played a few in-houses as well, which is kind of a bit more like solo queue compared to pro play, right? And that's what they've been doing there as well. So that's kind of like one thing that you can get ahead on the curve. So if it's something important in this video that I want you to take away is how you use the Atakhan GA is you want to dive insta. You don't want to waste too much time messing about clearing your camps. Don't do it. Ping your team and insta go dive. And if you die, or whether you die or whether it succeeds, you're ahead in tempo, like you're ahead in like 30 seconds of tempo, and you can use it to take these store of towers, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now talk about the second Atakhan. Okay, this is a bit weird. So the second Atakhan, oh, I'm on the wrong screen. So the second Atakhan is, in my opinion, the rather worse Atakhan. Killing it, there's a permanent buff. So the permanent buffs is you get 25% increased effects from all epic monster buffs. So this means Baron buff is 25% increased. Grub's buff does 25% more damage. Drake buff, you can see here, like Cloud Drake gives you like 25% larger shield on Mountain Drake Soul. Mountain Drake gives you 25% increased stats, stuff like that, right? So I think it's good to have, but I don't think it's game winning. So I think the GA is game winning because that tempo you use, 21 minutes into the game, is like you can just set a Baron and it just gives you so much, right? But I guess the more important element of this one, which I think, by the way, for both Atakhans, I think the more important part of the buff they give is the active element. So the first one, it was the GA, but for Rune's Atakhan, what it does is it spawns like a billion like blood roses. So if you noticed, if you remembered earlier, we talked about the new plant, which is the XP and adaptive force plant. Instead of you getting the bonus, so for the normal plants, you auto it, you kill it, you get the bonus, right? For these plants, it spawns like, I think 20 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it doesn't say how many blood roses it spawns, but it spawns like around 20 of them from memory. And you, by killing them, instead of giving the bonus to you, instead of giving the adaptive force and XP bonus to you, you give it to it's a global bonus. So every one plant you kill, your entire team gets it. So what does that mean for the Rune's Atakhan, which I think is a lot more common than the other one? I see this like in 80% of my games. In 20% of them, I see the GA one. The GA one is stronger, but usually you're going to see this one. I'm going to be honest. But what does it mean? So it means that smiting the Atakhan here doesn't matter as much as taking the plant, because the smite only gives you a 25% increased effect from all epic monster buffs, right? But it doesn't guarantee you get all the plants. So after you kill the Rune's Atakhan, it spawns like 20 plants. It spawns like 20 plants, and those can be taken by both sides. And they're global effect plants, so you really want to make sure that you not only kill Atakhan, you also want to make sure you get all the plants. So what I mean by saying this is you don't want to do anything stupid like spite the Atakhan and run away. Like you don't want to flip it. You don't want to sneak it. You want to make sure you can secure all the plants, otherwise it's completely useless. So make sure you keep your eyes on that. Two other system changes is Rift Herald spawns 2 minutes later, Baron spawns 5 minutes later, okay? So when I talked about using the Atakhan buff, so you're diving on mid lane, you come back out in base and you take this, you're going to have vision control at around 21:30. So that's 3.5 minutes before the Baron spawns. So you can just keep playing these towers, keep playing out. Enemy's always going to be 30 seconds behind you, right, in tempo. And you can use it to play the Nash. Now, I don't want to make this video too complex, but that's kind of how you play it, okay? Those are kind of all the system changes we have to talk about. There's a few rune choices that I want to go through really quickly. So Axiom Anarchist has taken over Nullifying Orb. So I think this is a huge change if you play Volibear. Your ultimate has 14% increased damage, healing and shielding, and also scoring a takedown reduces your ultimate's current CD by 7%. So this is completely OP for champions like Karthus, Volibear, I'm trying to think, maybe Brand. Like these sort of champions are going to be 10 times stronger. I think even on Sejuani you can take it, by the way. I think it works very well if you take Phase Rush and this. Also, the two other rune choice changes that matter is Domination. So Deep Ward, it's like pretty much it gives you a longer ward in enemy jungle. So if you put a ward in enemy jungle, it gives you the ward period is extended, okay? A Grizzly Mementos, it just means Trinket Haste. Sixth Sense, it's like Sweeper. It's like what do you call it? What's that item? Oh, it slipped my mind here. The item that gives you Umbro Glaive. So it's like a walking Umbro Glaive. So it's in your runes and silver items, so you can take this. These I don't think are as strong as people think. I think they're probably more important for support. But if you're playing dog junglers like Sejuani, like Maokai, I think these are pretty good. So Deep Ward is probably the best one out of the three from what I've played. But yeah, each their own. Okay, now let's talk about the item changes. I'm going to be honest, the champion buffs and nerfs, you guys don't care. These don't affect jungle at all, so don't have to worry about it. Now on to the item changes. I think the important ones for bruisers, actually just let me put it this way. For bruisers, I don't think there are too many item changes. Assassins, there are pretty much 0 item changes. Pretty much all the item changes are on tanks, and most of them are, in my opinion, nerfs. So Abyssal Moss, health decrease, magic resist decrease. Instead of causing them to receive, causing their magic resist to reduce by 30, you make enemy team get 12% increased magic damage from all sources. I think this is like a bad change, if I'm being honest. I think you never build this on Volibear anymore. I don't think you can build it on Maokai. I still think you build it on Maokai, but Maokai is like the best champion to build it on, right? Like I don't think you build it on Jarvan, those sort of champions. I think they're terrible from now on. Okay, so no more Abyssal Moss on most dog junglers. I think you can still go on Sejuani, by the way, but I don't think it's definitely not great. Armor Advanced, so it's a new boots item. So remember we talked about the Feats of Strengthening, which is like the best of 3 in the early game, first blood, first tower, and first 3 objectives. So you can get the new upgraded boots. It's like it's what you call tier 3 boots. So as you can see here, taking physical damage from champions grants you a shield that absorbs 10 to, you can read it, right? Grants you 10 to 140 plus 4% max health physical damage for 4 seconds. So as I said, the new boots are completely broken, and this is just a key example of that. You have to worry about that. Again, new item that I think is good. This one I've noticed works very well for Volibear, but I'm not too sure it works well for other champions. I think it could be a sleeper Zyra. Could be a sleeper good on Zyra. It's pretty much, if you deal magic damage to an enemy champion, it applies a stack. You get 6 stacks. By the time you get 6 stacks, you get 5% magic resist reduction up to 30%, right? It's simple. I think it's a good item if you can hit a lot. Maybe it's good on Karthus. I know it's good on Volibear if you're very far ahead. I don't like it when you're behind or even. On Zyra, I've noticed it's not bad as well. So any champion where you can hit a lot, I think it's great. Not too big of a thing for jungle. It's good for like AP junglers, Brand as well. But I don't think this matters too much. I don't think this item is that strong, but I do think they'll be buffing it very soon. So stay tuned for that. If they do buff it, it's probably going to make AP junglers very broken, by the way. So watch out for that. We've already gone through the new Merc Treads upgrade. It's broken. The Lucidity Boots upgrade. This is honestly whatever. I think it doesn't change. It's not as good as it used to, but healing, shielding, or buffing ally damage grants you 10% movement speed for 4 seconds. I think it's probably one of the better boots, but I don't think it's... I don't think you ever go this over the Mercs and the Tab Eyes. I think Tab Eyes are still completely broken, guys. So if you're playing against any AD champion, just build Tab Eyes and you'll win the game. Trust me. Again, these new boots, so you get 45 plus 10% total movement speed while out of combat. Again, this is good, but not as good as Mercs and Tab Eyes. This one, again, I don't really think it's good. Basic attacks on hit against enemy champions grants you 10% movement speed if you're range. You only build this on range, so not good. People that are telling me this is good in Bel'Veth, it's not. Stop saying it. It's bad. Okay, now to the more important item changes. Heartsteel is getting an early game buff, a late game nerf. So instead of so the base damage is reduced by 10. This is whatever. So the health ratio you get, so the bonus health you get is 6%, is changed to 6% of your maximum HP from 12% of your bonus HP from items. I think this will make Heartsteel a lot stronger in early game, which I don't understand at all. I think the issue with it was always the late game. So them kind of buffing the early game just makes Heartsteel an even better item, in my opinion. Some people say it's worse. In my opinion, it's better. I've given you my reasoning. I think Heartsteel was only... I think if Heartsteel was even stronger early game, like, when would you ever not go to item on, say, like, Skarner and stuff like that, right? I think even on Jarvan or, like, Sejuani, you'll see this being played because that's just a completely insane change, in my opinion, right? So by the way, what I mean by this is Heartsteel is broken. So keep building on Skarner. Skarner's still going to be broken. We won't go through these new boots because I feel like they're not that good and you don't really go them on junglers. Like, these are not really items you go on junglers, but they're good to have. But as I said, if you get Feats of Strength, make sure to buy Tab Eyes and Mercs. They're still way better than anyone else. I think Ionian boots are also good, by the way. I just think it's the third best. Like, it's the clear third best. I think Tab Eyes upgrade is the best. Mercs upgrade is the second best, and I would say Ionian's the third best. Outside of those, I don't really think you should go any other one. Like, I know some people say Swift March is good because you get like 4% bonus total movement speed. I think it's alright because movement speed is like OP in a way, I guess, a little bit. But I don't think it's that game changing. Like, I think the Tab Eyes one is like game winning. New thing for Unending Despair. For you Unending Despair enjoyers out there, they are making it a mixed resistance item. So they're nerfing the HP from 400 to 350. They're reducing the armor to 25 from 60. And they're giving you 25 magic resist. They're also changing the base damage a little bit, which I think is not the best. Because I think... I mean, someone told... Like, I asked my top laner if Unending Despair was good. He said it was. In my opinion, this item is kind of gutted. Like, I think even though they reduced the 4-second cooldown from like the passive, which is what heals you, right? Which is what deals damage to enemies, which is what heals you. I feel like it's not that great because I only really procced it twice in one fight. So I don't think I'll ever get the third proc on, even if the CD is reduced. And the base damage being reduced that much means the heal is also reduced that much. I just don't really like it, in my opinion. Maybe it could be good. But from what I've played a lot of Skarner in scrims. I don't think it is good at all. Warmog's lost its movement speed. It's a terrible item. Don't build it. Just don't build it right now. They took away the movement speed. They kept everything else, and they also made it so that you needed to have 2,000 bonus health instead of 1,500 to get the passive. I don't know why they're nerfing it again. I didn't think it was that big of an item, that big of an issue of an item. But I guess right now is something we don't. But that is kind of all we have to say about the patch. There's also a few changes that could be useful for you guys if you want to practice. So, practice tool is expanded, so you can now get other people in. So if you want to practice jungle clears or you want to practice jungle skirmishing, it's a lot better now. And ranked, they're making it one reset throughout the entire season. So now they've got 3 splits. Your rank doesn't reset in between splits, so make sure to not troll your solo queue games because you're not going to get a reset to save you from it. They're going to have 3 splits though, and the 3 splits are 3 different themes. You're going to have like different metas, like very big changes every 1/3 of a year. So that's going to be huge. So stay tuned for that. I hope this video kind of answered a lot of your questions about the new patch. I know I kind of did it. It's a bit scuffed, but there's so much to cover. It kind of was bombarding my head. I hope you guys understood the main takeaways from this is Feats of Strength, OP. You want to get it. You want to play for First Blood. So start cheesing a little bit more. If you watch me, you know I'm a big cheeser. So if you want to know how to cheese, just watch my stream. I stream every day. Feats of Strength is OP, so watch. Remember that. Second thing, Atakhan, OP if you get the GA one. This other one is not bad, but remember, killing it doesn't do anything. It's killing the petals that matters more for the other one. But otherwise, the GA one is OP. It's a must take. Third thing is... What is the third thing, actually? Oh, the cannon minions. So the cannon minions spawn 3 minutes a wave later. So don't... How you say it? Don't dive on the third wave, dive on the fourth wave. Okay, so that's a big change if you play diving champions like Volibear, Belveth, Viego. I mean, I guess all of you that watch me probably play this champion. So remember, that's a massive change. So stay tuned. Keep note of that. Item changes. They're nerfing tanks a bit. I don't think it changes that much. I think the broken champions are still going to be Viego, Skarner. But we will cover that in our tier list video, which is going to be coming out, I guess, soon after this video. Appreciate you all for watching. Watch me on Twitch, sub to YouTube, and peace. We're out of here.